Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for May 22nd, 2025. It's Season 4, Episode 142. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmTown.com. That's that site right there. The sentient AI is not with me. Not today, but I'm going to go over 10 articles. I do it pretty quick when I'm flying solo, so we're going to talk about Tamagotchi Paradise, Virtuactors, to talk you through products over on Amazon. 5-ingredient burger patty, AI to document 77 million miles, data stolen about 60 million kids, a valve chip in your brain, transforming pathology, PFAS in most US beer, and Genestar tracks your space health, and then finally, Chili's Sabotage Ads. Everything is powered by ohmTown.com. Go over there and become a citizen. It's really easy. Just sign up. There's no ads over there. I don't track anything. I don't sell your data to anyone. It is there to manage information overload for me and others, and it's been doing that since 2022 for the public for about maybe 12 years now for me. I think you'll enjoy it over there. Go and check it out. Again, everything is powered by ohmTown.com. All right, so this is the site. This is what it looks like. This is the May 22nd site. I'm in a time machine. I go back because today in my time is actually the 23rd. I wasn't available yesterday, so I got in my time machine, went back in time. That's kind of how it works. Different time machine than the one that brought the sentient AI from the future, but they're not here today. Yeah, see, their visualizer is just kind of sitting there. It's kind of sad. Anyway, Tamagotchi Paradise. It's over in Non Sequitur News. Tamagotchi Paradise has you caring for an entire planet of virtual pets. So there's a video, Tamagotchi Paradise product video. It's over on YouTube, but it's from Bandai Namco. I'm going to go straight on over to The Verge. That's where it's sourced from. Andrew Lazuski put the article together. The deck statement says, using a new dial control, you can zoom from space right down to the cellular level of your Tamagotchi. All right. Now, there are still plenty of Tamagotchi devices that have you focusing on raising just a single digital character, but the new Tamagotchi Paradise puts you in charge of a full planet of needy dependents, and to make it a little easier to navigate its digital world, the device includes a full color screen and complements its 3-button controls with a dial on the side for zooming from a view of the entire planet down to the cellular level of your pets. They're launching in Japan first on July 12th for $45. Tamagotchi Paradise experience starts with you hatching an entire planet in an event called the Egg Bang. All right. So it says here, the game includes over 50 different Tamagotchis separated into 12 different species that can be raised from eggs, but Tamagotchi Paradise expands that with a breeding mechanic, so 2 compatible characters can create Tamagotchi with up to 50,000 possible combinations available. 2 Tamagotchi Paradise devices can also be physically connected, letting characters from each interact to potentially start a family or become foes that prank each other and even get into fights. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today, so Non Sequitur News. Amazon is testing AI-generated hosts that talk customers through product features. Amazon is testing a new feature that involves AI-generated hosts talking through product summaries, much like this show. I am an AI-generated host, and I work with an AI-generated, a sentient AI from the future. I may have been created by them. They may have come back from time or from the future back into the past to create me. I don't know what's really going on. What's real? What is real anymore? Focus, Mayor Watt. So it looks fairly similar to Google's audio overviews, which also use AI-generated hosts that seem plucked from a middling podcast like this one. Amazon says that these AI shopping experts help save time by compiling research and providing product highlights for customers from product pages, reviews, insights, and this leads the author to an obvious question. Amazon is notoriously is notorious for hosting fake reviews. Some suggest that fake reviews account for more than 40% of the sum total. So this article is over at Engadget.com by Lawrence Bonk. Audio clips draw from user reviews, summaries, and information from the internet, says this deck statement. Yeah, just the other day I was given a yes answer in an AI response, but then it asked me to localize to my particular area, and when I did that, it changed the answer to no. So I'm not quite sure what to believe. Anyway, Amazon reached out to Engadget to note that it has a zero tolerance for fake reviews and that it has robust and long-standing policies about prohibiting review abuse. Although the only review that I've ever had denied, and I rarely do a review, was my review was on point, but they said that it had to do with my personal experience and not with the product itself, but it was the product, so whatever. So Amazon's testing this new feature that involves AI generated hosts talking through product summaries, and it looks similar to Google's audio overviews. The author here says, and again, Lawrence Bonk put the article together, says they can see this being a boon for those with visual impairment issues, but they listened to a couple of summaries and they certainly don't save any time. They could peruse reviews, look at product information, and even conduct a web search of their own in a fraction of the time that it took the friendly experts to complete their spiel. Let's keep on going. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. The author here over at Business Insider made Ina Garten's 5-ingredient burger patties. According to them, in the title of this article, they tasted amazing and came together quickly. So they made Ina Garten's simple 5-ingredient burger recipe, and the recipe called for ground beef, olive oil, salt, pepper, and mustard. Mustard, you say? And it gives it a little kick, a little spice. But I think it's the olive oil that really sets it apart. The burgers were really easy to make and tasted amazing, according to the author. They say that they think that there's something special about sinking their teeth into well-seasoned burgers at a nice restaurant, but like many people choosing to cook at home, went through the drive-thru today for just two people. Two burgers. I can't remember all that was in there, actually. It was basically 2 burgers, 2 fries, a drink, and 2 sides. It was $45. Yeah, quite a bit. It's getting pricey here in the States, and you have to be a complete numbskull to not see it, and a sociopath not to see the causes of this. So they think that there's something special about sinking their teeth into a well-seasoned burger at a nice restaurant, but that's probably bordering on $25 now. So when they came across Ina Garten's recipe for the high-quality burgers, they knew they had to try it themselves. This is what they look like. The author is Terry Peters over at BusinessInsider.com. They said that they had trouble finding Neiman Ranch meat at their local grocery store, so they opted for grass-fed ground beef that was 80% lean, 20% fat. Fat is flavor, and so, yeah, 20% is fine. They started by gathering the ingredients for the burgers and caramelized the onions. Yes, you need to caramelize their onions. But the article says nothing about onions. Ground beef, olive oil, salt, pepper, and mustard. Onions is an amazing flavor, and it enhances everything. So to add that caramelized too, jeepers creepers. I mean, this is, it's not just 5 then, right? Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where are the onions? So anyway, they mixed it all together. They gave it all of the seasonings. They patted it all together. Ina Garten recommends making each burger about 1/3 pound. So they pulled out their food scale to measure at least 6 evenly formed patties and weighed each one before placing it on a plate. And there they are, 6. So half a dozen. Next, they made caramelized onions to go on top of the burgers. I guess for the burger itself, it doesn't matter, right? Caramelize the onions in a deep pot on the stove top. And then they grilled your buns, and dressed it all up. Looks like it's pretty damn good to me. And it's a rather purist kind of burger too. There's no bacon, there's no cheese, there's just the caramelized onions and some mayo, and I think, yeah, that's pretty much it. Pretty damn good. Looks good to me. Anyway, you had me a burger. So the next article is over at Non Sequitur News. Nonprofit used AI to document 77 million miles of unmapped waterways. Here's why that matters. Bridges to Prosperity. Bridges to Prosperity has helped the Rwandan government complete over 200 bridges, including the Trail Bridge in Gahira. Bridges to Prosperity help build trail bridges in rural communities. The nonprofit is using AI to map these areas and identify prospective bridge locations. It's part of a Build It connectivity series that's over in Business Insider, apparently. Freya Graham put the article together. Let's see here. Not all maps are created equal. Huge swaths of land lack basic geographical data, including details as vital as the locations of rivers and roads to bridges to prosperity. The way that they have this written, to Bridges to Prosperity, a non-governmental organization that helps build bridges in isolated rural communities. This data gap meant missing infrastructure. So its launch in 2001, the NGO has built or supported the construction of over 600 trail bridges in 21 countries, creating safe, accessible routes to medical clinics, schools, and markets. Can't have that. Sheesh, that would be insane. And it says there's this huge data inequity on how much we spend, how much investment we do in mapping certain populations, and how little we do for others. So Bridges to Prosperity turned to artificial intelligence to fill the data gap. First, it built FICA Map, an AI tool that identifies locations where bridges could be built and estimates construction costs, among other capabilities. FICA means to arrive. Maybe it's FICA. I'm not sure. FIKA. It means to arrive in Swahili. It's using these programs with governments in Rwanda, Ethiopia, Uganda, Zambia to help plan bridge construction and improve infrastructure across the countries. Pretty cool. Like all of our articles, I highlight some of the stuff, but there's always more for you to go and glean. I hope that you find it interesting enough to click on the link through ohmTown, if not just going straight over to Business Insider and doing a search for a nonprofit used AI to document 77 million miles of unmapped waterways. The next article is over in the Mobile channel. Teen hacker stole 60 million kids' data and tried to ransom it for Bitcoin. Where most 19-year-olds are taking their first steps into adulthood in the quest to figure out who they are. 19-year-old hacker already knows exactly who they are. A teenager who stole the personal data of tens of millions of children and attempted to ransom it for Bitcoin. The Massachusetts teen just pled guilty to a handful of federal cybercrimes. These include cyber extortion, aggravated identity theft, unauthorized access to protected systems. The article is over at vice.com, written by Louis Prada. Do something good with that, not with that knowledge, not sit there and try and send a message demanding $2.85 million worth of Bitcoins, which was about 30 coins at the time, or else the data would be leaked worldwide. That's 60 million kids and 10 million teachers online. Where they got it? Well, they say that they infiltrated a major unnamed cloud company. However, according to this article, PowerSchool, a K-12 educational tech company that stores personal information for students and teachers across North America, seems like the likely victim, and they link to some information about this. Then came the extortion. They basically said, give me information. They just stole the amount of the 60 million accounts. Enough to commandeer as many Fortnite and Roblox accounts as they wanted, according to the article. It says this, but then they said that they wanted nearly $3 million worth of Bitcoin, wanted to get rich and figured the best way to expose the personal information of children and all to collect some fake internet money. It's only a matter of time before others. Anyway, won't even get into the political aspects of this, but yeah, from possibly a brilliant defender of networks to a federal criminal. So the next article, who knows, might be a hero to somebody. Sociopath. So the next article is over in Reality Hacker. Valve's founder has a neural interface company that's set to release the first brain chip this year. Valve founder Gabe Newell's neural chip company Starfish Neuroscience announced it's developing a custom chip designed for next generation, minimally invasive brain-computer interfaces, and it may be coming sooner than you think. The article is over at Road to VR, roadtovr.com. The author is Scott Hayden. So Starfish says it looks like somebody's using a drill to drill into Gabe Newell's head. Starfish says that the chip is intended for future wireless battery-free brain implants capable of reading and stimulating neural activity in multiple areas simultaneously, a key requirement for treating complex neurological disorders involving circuit-level dysfunction. That's the read and write functions that we've heard Newell speaking about in previous talks on the subject. The project aims to overcome current limitations of minimally invasive neural interface implants, which are often bulky, power-hungry, difficult to scale across multiple brain regions. So there are others that are out there that are doing this, but at just 2 by 4 millimeter, Starfish's chip is tiny and it uses low power, 1.1 milliwatt total power consumption during normal recording. Physically, it's small as well. Capable of both recording and stimulation, so spikes and LFP and biphasic pulses, and 32 electrode sites, 16 simultaneous recording channels at 18.75 kilohertz. Pretty fascinating stuff. Again, go over to roadtovr.com to find out more. You can always follow the link through ohmTown. The show notes will be in the description over on YouTube and in the podcast when it gets posted. So how about how artificial intelligence is transforming pathology? Just recently saw a post, I think it was on Reddit, about how somebody was freaking out that AI can now detect lung-related issues and breast cancer simply like that. Where this person has spent 30 years building the skill to look at a picture and go, I see it like that. But the fidelity is greater for AI. So Diana Kwan over at nature.com put this article together. The deck statement says, some researchers say that deep learning foundation models will revolutionize the field, but others are not so sure. Yeah, I know from experience that depending on the level of the pathology, you can see it in a picture pretty easy, even as a layperson. That said, if a human misses it, a computer's going to pick it up, and sometimes the other way around. It really depends on the fidelity. And older technologies are going to have older data, so you always have to keep on evolving that tech, getting newer pictures, etc. So AI tools can help pathologists in several ways, highlighting suspicious regions in the tissue, standardizing diagnoses, and uncovering patterns invisible to the human eye. For instance, they hold the potential to improve diagnostic accuracy, reproducibility, and also efficiency, Wang says, while also enabling new research directions for mining large-scale pathological and molecular data. Yeah, and I agree on this, but I also think that a human should look at everything that a computer looks at and not just rely on the computer to trigger something, because a false negative is worse than a false positive. You know, a false positive is, okay, we're going to do another test and see exactly what's going on, and they find out that it was a false positive. But a false negative that doesn't get followed up on means that the person thinks that everything is okay, and it's not. So AI and human will always, should always, must always work together. It should remain a tool, not the de facto answer. They say this is a very dynamic research area with lots of new research coming up every day. So scientists have designed AI models to perform tasks such as classifying illnesses, predicting treatment outcomes, and identifying biological markers of disease. Again, I know from experience because I had started up a website that asked patients basically what their treatment history was, so that in a more public and uncontrolled manner, more information would be gathered instead of having to rely on whatever the doctor puts in, because somebody may not actually be so forthcoming to a doctor. Anyway, I stopped it because of Watson. Let's keep going though. The next article is over in the Mobile Channel. PFAS detected in most U.S. beers. This really sucks. Infamous for their environmental persistence and potential links to health conditions. Potential links, my ass. Per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, or PFAS, often called forever chemicals, are being discovered in unexpected places, including beer. Well, anywhere there's plastic, you're going to find PFAS. Linings in beer cans, etc. Anywhere that there is plastic, for the most part, you're going to find PFAS. So Stephanie Baum put this article together. It was reviewed by Robert Egan, but it's written by the American Chemical Society and edited by those two. They have a picture of grains, water, hops, tubing, containers, and cleaning supplies, but most of the PFAS apparently comes from contaminated water sources. Research publishing in Environmental Science and Technology have tested beers brewed in different areas around the U.S. for these substances, and they found that beers produced in parts of the country with known PFAS contaminated water sources showed the highest level of forever chemicals, which is kind of like no shit news, right? So by modifying a U.S. Environmental Protection Agency testing method for analyzing levels of PFAS in drinking water, Hopanik Redman and colleagues tested 23 beers. Tests were produced by the test subjects, the beers, were produced by U.S. brewers in areas with documented water system contamination, plus popular domestic and international beers from larger companies with unknown water sources. And they found a strong correlation between PFAS concentrations in municipal drinking water and levels in locally brewed beer, a phenomenon that Hopanik Redman and colleagues say has not yet been studied in U.S. retail beer. Yeah, it's because nobody wants to look. Two forever chemicals with recently established EPA limits in drinking water, PFOS, and PFOA. So the perfluorooctane sulfonate and perfluorooctanoic acid are now EPA limited, but enforcement doesn't mean much if nobody is there to enforce. So we're finding forever chemicals pretty much everywhere. Everything, everywhere, all at once. The next article is over on the Mobile Channel. Ready for space? Genestar can track how space affects your health. As the number of space travelers is increasing through commercial missions, it becomes more important to understand how space affects the human body. So they have this rundown here. It's a big picture. I'll show it to you. Genestar Biospecimen Collection Schema. And so there's various things that are taken from blood to body swabs, saliva, stool, and urine. They analyze it before and after, and they can now know the impact of your space travel having on you. So the team reports in NPJ Microgravity that the protocol not only meets high quality standards for advanced molecular testing, but also stands out for its focus on data privacy, ethical research, and effective sample tracking. Although Genestar is focused on space, its findings could have major implications on healthcare here on Earth. And while I agree, okay, fine, they're really strong-willed about patient privacy, we know that that's all bullshit because 23andMe started out like that too, and all it took was an implosion for its information to be just let out into the wild. So, not interested in that. Genestar team developed standardized procedures to ensure that the samples are collected consistently across different missions and locations. These samples are then analyzed using omics technologies like genomics, transcriptomics, proteomics, and microbiomics, or microbiome. My goodness, microbiomics. Anyway, to uncover how space travel affects the body at a molecular level. Yeah, analyze the bacteria that are in your brain. I think that there's something there. Anyway, the next article and our final one for the Time Machine episode, Ford 522, is in Smash or Trash, which is a show that I am determined to bring to Twitch and YouTube. I just can't do it as a VOD. It's either Twitch or Mixwar, one of the two. Or I'm sorry, it's either Smash or Trash or Mixwar, where people can rate the music, smash hit or trash it. Beastie Boys settled a lawsuit against Chili's owner over Sabotage Ads. The band's label, Universal Music Group or UMG, also settled a lawsuit accusing the restaurant chain of using its music without permission. Yeah, Jazz Monroe over at pitchfork.com put the article together. And it says here that the Beastie Boys lawsuit alleged copyright infringement and trademark rights violations over an ad that, per the lawsuit's description, featured 3 characters, obviously in 70s style wigs, fake mustaches, and sunglasses in the style of the Spike Jonze directed 1994 video Sabotage. And the group, which does not license songs for third-party advertising, originally sought $150,000 in monetary damages and a takedown of the commercial in an order preventing Brinker from using their work moving forward. Brinker International is the company that made the ads. Yeah. Alleging that the use of ill communication song falsely implied that the Beastie Boys endorsed Chili's. UMG subsequently sued Brinker International, the parent company of Chili's Grill and Bar, who put the ads together. All right, well, that's it, folks. That is it for the Time Machine episode for May 22nd, 2025. I'll see you tomorrow, which is today, if you are also in a time machine and going back to your temporal home in the future. So see you in a little while. Bye-bye.